welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. My name is Tiffany Daniels, also known as Lady Autist. I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas. Now this is my second attempt to make this video because my phone has decided it wants to have a mutiny. So, sorry about that. So what we're going to go with today is a trolling tactic that I haven't thought to go over and actually hit both the JD supporters community and the disability community all on the same day. So, what am I talking about? I am talking about when someone presumes that they are the mouthpiece for a particular group and make a blanket statement. And when they do things like this, what they are actually trying to do is for the voices within that group that they're presuming to be the mouthpiece for, that they are speaking for, they're doing that to drown out the voices of opposition from within that group. So we ran into this today earlier on Twitter in two different areas. In one side, in the disability community, it was one of those armchair professionals, I like to call them, that like to hammer on the age-old, what they call people first language. It was something that I was subjected to when I was doing my advocacy for the state. And it's basically whenever someone with a disability will call themselves disabled, there's always going to be that one person, usually a professional that's worked in the field, who with their virtue signaling good intentions will then come onto the thread and say, please say people with disabilities. People are more than their disabilities. Sounds quaint, right? Right? No, it doesn't. It doesn't, does it? It sounds just bad. It sounds as bad to me as it does to you. It's like when they say we have special abilities. The condescension. Seriously. First of all, people with disabilities, we are actually disabled. You cannot separate us from our disability. It is not this separate entity that follows us around like it's a lost puppy dog. It's when we say we're autistic, it's because we're autistic. We're not people with autism. It's not like, do you ever say a person is with a cold? Yeah, even the grammar doesn't work. Even the grammar doesn't work. But they come in high-handed and condescending, and they always have to do that. Now, we in the disability community have been referred to ourselves as disabled people for freaking ever. Ever since I got into the movement. And we really don't like these high-handed professionals who come into these threads, sometimes even started by parents, in telling people how they should refer to us, or even telling us how we should refer to ourselves. And they do it from that high-handed point of authority, so that the dissenting voices of the disability community, whose mouthpiece they presume to be, won't be heard, so their narrative goes out there and not ours. Just look to how some celebrities refer to people like me as opposed to any other minority. You see what I mean? Just saying. When you presume from that high-handed authority how the world is to refer to us, instead of asking us how we'd like to be referred to, then those voices get drowned out, and out goes the narrative, which includes more isolation, more focus on our otherness, more focus of how we got to come up with all these means to make disabled people more normal so we feel more comfortable with ourselves. Yeah. Now, in the JD community, it's kind of the same thing, really. It started with a tweet from a woman who started with, just want to know why Johnny Depp is still part of the Dior campaign, asking for a friend, parentheses, all women. It's the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. She is presuming to be the mouthpiece for all women, and then posing this question the way she did, as though she is acting as a mouthpiece for all women, like somehow we had this consensus. We elected her to be the voice to ask the question. It's the same tactics, though. It's the same tactic as what they're using against the disability community to drown out our voices. If these folks can convince the general populace that this is how women actually think, they're going to go with that narrative. Now, luckily, people on AH's side have tried this tactic a little too late. The fact of the matter is, a good bunch of JD supporters are women, and not just women. We are talking domestic violence survivors that are women and who are angry at this little miss thing that had the presumption to make false allegations and make what happened to us look like a joke. Yeah, you can probably hear the anger there. Not sorry. Not sorry. Her stands are doing what she does, presuming to be the presumptive mouthpiece for an entire group, hoping that they blare themselves loud enough that people will just accept it, and never mind the dissenting voices within the group that you're supposedly speaking for that are actually stating the exact opposite. Now, in both cases, it's all the same. If they feel like if they can blare it loud enough, then people will simply go with their narrative and not take a second glance to look that that's not actually the reality of the situation. It's another way of drowning out our voice. But we can't be drowned out. I think they found that out with that moving night. The disability community, I think they figured that out with ASAN, with the Centers for Independent Living. There's so many movements and other parts of movements within the disability community. It's just a beautiful thing. It really is. When people presume that they have excuse me, the right to speak for you, the best way to handle it is call them out. Call them out. And don't just call them out, but call them out within the same groups that they are presuming to speak for. And share what they say and reshare. And for the love of God, you better screenshot it, because a lot of these folks, when her lies start coming out, are going to start backpedaling real quick. We need to start getting hold of those receipts now and remind folks. But anyways, it's doing what we are. It's just every time they use another tactic to drown out our voices. Don't get angry. Get louder. Alright? Okay, folks, that's all I got for this evening. Now, I don't get a whole lot of views on this channel. The few ones that I do get do tend to be removed by YouTube, so please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and please don't forget to hit the comments. I hope you have a good one.